Okay, so today we're going to be taking a look at the Moolah credit card management worksheet. This is a Google worksheet, so you may have already gotten a link to it, or if not, it's a free worksheet. If you want to head over to saymoolah.com, you can get access to this as well. Once you get access, you're going to see there's a button to request edit access. Instead, what you're going to want to do, go up to File, make a copy. And this is going to give you an editable copy that's all your own to input your specific details. What this document does is it tracks a lot of those vital credit card details so that you can see it in a sheet format all at once, and it also is going to track automatically certain details. So things like the cards you have, the statuses. So you may have cards that are open, you may have cards that are closed. You may have cards that you're just researching. You can look at all that here and have that comparative view. You're going to have your card open dates. That's important for understanding when you have annual fees coming due. It's important when you're thinking about what your status is in terms of recent inquiries on your credit report. Card close dates, that's also something that's just good to have, and you can have that historical view of when you closed a card, your 524 status. You can input the credit limits, annual fees, any earning rates, so that's 2% cash back on a specific category or 3x on a specific category. You can input all of that based on any card that you're tracking or that maybe you're researching. Along with that, features and benefits. Maybe you get certain credits per year. Maybe you get certain travel insurance. There's no foreign transaction fees. Any features and benefits you can essentially list out so you can kind of see some of the other value that you're getting out of the card, especially when there is an annual fee associated with the card. And another thing we're going to look at is first year value. That's something we like to think about when we're looking at new cards and sign up bonuses, welcome offers, have individual card notes. And then you can also look at everything related to a new card if there is a welcome offer or sign up bonus. So what is the sign up bonus? What requirements are there for that sign-up bonus? What is your bonus progress? What is the bonus expiration date so that you can track that? And then, of course, you always want to go in with a plan on how you're going to meet that bonus. You don't want to miss out on the opportunity. So once you have this document, you also see some getting started information here. I'll go over most of that in the video here, but you'll have it in the document as well to reference. Once you're done with all of this information, you can actually just collapse this column. One other thing to look at here, based on the information you input, we are going to automatically show you what your 524 status is and what your status looks like in the future, when your status may change, what dates that may change. And if you don't know about Chase 524 rule, which is what this is based on, you can go to the link in the file here and learn more on our website. Chase has a pretty strict rule where you can't obtain more than 5 credit cards within a 24-month period from any bank institution. So anything is showing up on your credit report. Usually that is going to apply mostly to personal cards. Business cards don't usually get reported, and so they don't show up on that 524 status. The only way Chase may see that is if it was a Chase business card. But that's essentially a very high level what your 524 is. It's important when you're applying for new credit cards because it's going to help you decide what cards you maybe should apply for first. The other thing that we have here is upcoming annual fees. So what this is going to do is automatically bring in any cards that you've entered that have an upcoming renewal date. So up to 5 upcoming renewal dates. And it's only going to list these cards if they have a renewal fee, because you want to reevaluate every year to make sure that you're getting the value you need from that card that has an annual fee. We're going to head over to the personal cards tab here, and you'll notice there's a business cards as well. So they're essentially the same. If you need the business cards, definitely use it. It's set up there so that you can easily organize personal versus business cards. If you don't need it, you can delete it. Let's just go back to personal and let's look at that one in more detail. So we're going to start here from the left. We're just going to go through each column and explain what's happening here. So some of this is pretty straightforward. First, you're going to put in whoever the issuer of the card is and then whatever the card name is. And then you're going to see a column for status. So we've got a couple of statuses in here. One is tentative. That might be something that you're looking at. Maybe you're considering some new cards, or you're just making some notes on some cards you might be interested in getting in the future. If you have a new card, that's essentially when you're working on like sign up bonus. So you have a new sign up bonus, a new account. And so what that's going to do is highlight the row for that card. That is essentially a card that maybe, you're past the sign up bonus period, but it's a card that's open and active. Another option you have here for statuses is to be closed. So that just helps you manage and organize any card that you're planning to close. It helps to give you a reminder. The last is closed. So if you have closed a card, you can essentially go in there and that's just going to gray everything out. It's going to strike through all of these so that you can easily see that card is no longer active. But it is nice to keep this information here because if you want to see any of your credit history in terms of applications, cards you opened, when they were closed, things like that. It's important that you put in your open date, and that's essentially going to be the date that you applied and were accepted. This is actually going to affect that 524 outlook that we saw on the dashboard. So it's important to get that date in there. It's actually going to help with a couple other things too. So for instance, the renewal date, regardless of if there's an annual fee, if the card is open or if it's new or if it's even to be closed status, that renewal date will automatically calculate for you based on your open date. So the next renewal date will show up. If you have closed the card, you would have your row marked as closed and you could go in and put the close date there. That's just good for your own reference. You put the annual fee in. If you have that information there, that will actually help with this upcoming annual fees. That date now with the renewal and the annual fee can show up there for you just by having some of those basic details entered. Credit limit, that's up to you. It's nice to just keep track of how much credit you have been with some of these cards and you can see it all in one place. The next thing you're going to want to do is input any earning rates. So that's going to be any percentage cash back, any bonus points that you get on certain categories. So for instance, this is the Amex Gold card. You get 4x on global restaurants and groceries. You get 3x on airfare. You could also just say 2%, 3%, whatever it may be if it's a cashback card. At the end of the day, it just helps you see what the categories are with that card, and you can reference it again if you need to make sure you're using the right card for your purchases just to maximize those earning potentials. The other thing you're going to do is input any features and benefits. You could put in things like this card has like Uber credit, restaurant credit, and a few other things. In some cases you might get, lounge access or free check bags, whatever it is. Each card will be a little different based on the rewards program. If you have a new card, you can enter your sign-up bonus. You can keep track of what that sign-up bonus was, encourage you to enter any additional sign-up incentives, such as if the first year annual fee is waived, or if you get 0% APR, if that's important to you. And then what is the requirement, to get that bonus? Once you have that all set up and you get the card and you start to use it, you can go in maybe every week or two and update how much you've spent towards that bonus requirement. The other thing you're going to want to do when you set all of this up is set up the bonus expiration date. So I'm just going to manually set that up from the date that you open the card, and then you can keep track of how you're doing with that bonus. The other thing is, if you're within 30 days, this column is going to be formatted to show you that there's a bit more emphasis and urgency around wrapping that up. Similarly, this column for open date, if a card is 524 status, it will highlight as well with formatting, just to show you which cards are currently counting towards your 524 status. Okay, so let's continue. The last thing over here, before we get to the card notes and the bonus spend, is the first year value. With this, it's really important to look at more than just what are the miles that you're getting or what's the cash bonus. Sometimes with the miles, it's hard to understand approximately what that might be worth. So what we've done is we've developed a calculator. This calculator is going to look at more than just the standard flat bonus that you're getting. So you could pick, in this case, we were looking at Amex, so we'll put the Amex membership rewards. Let's say the bonus amount was 90,000 points. there was no cash offer to that. The spending requirement was $6,000. Let's say your average earning rate, even though you may get 4x on dining and restaurants, you might get 1x on a lot of other things, your average might be around 2. And then benefit value, I think we saw we might be getting around 350 with some of those credits. Now the annual fee was 325. After calculating, we can see that the first year value for this card is a huge $1,860 approximately. And the yield that you're getting is 31%. So you can enter card notes, anything specific to card that you want to remember, any notes that you might have had when you applied, anything at all really that you want, to come back and reference, anything you want to keep. And then if you are working on a bonus, roughly outline how you're going to meet that bonus. So you can put some rough values around different spending categories. You can get more detailed. You can do this however you like. And sometimes you might want to do that if you're just tentatively looking at a new card, just to make sure you can get there and that it makes sense and that you're doing it at the right time. That should cover most of everything. So based on the information that we entered, we saw that we had 2 cards that were essentially within the 524 currently. So we're at 224. And if we don't open any new cards before March of 2025, that our status would become 124. If we didn't open any new cards until August of 2025, we'd be down to 024. You can always kind of see if you're getting closer to that 524, you're at 524, or even beyond it. This will help you understand and plan around any new credit cards that you might be looking at. And as mentioned, this one is showing, we don't have a lot of cards entered here right now, but we had that gold card and that United Explorer card. And those renewal dates and those annual fees are coming in here so that you can keep those top of mind and reevaluate when the time comes. The only other thing that we wanted to mention here is that when you get started, you can feel free to just replace these, change statuses. You can delete those rows if you want. Another thing that you can do is either at the start or after you start using it, any of these supplemental rows, and we have up to about 50 here, you can enter any information that's required. So anywhere you see add, those are the places that you're going to want to make sure you get that initial information in when you're evaluating a card. Of course, when you open the card, you'll want to get the open date and things like that in there. So thanks for downloading. If you haven't, again, it's a free document that could be really, really helpful for managing credit cards. And this is really useful for people who have lots of cards or just a few cards, or just learning about credit cards, or you're already pretty deep in understanding the world of credit cards and all the rewards related to them. But yeah, check out more at saymula.com, and thanks for checking out the worksheet.